Hey, this is the Big Hardcore Gamer, and I'm back reviewing another Capcom game. This time, I'm giving my review for Pragmata, which I played on PC through Steam. As always, this review won't include any story spoilers. Watch until the end, like it, give it a hype, and subscribe if you're new. And also consider joining the Hardcore Gamers Club to get early access to some of my content. Right, let's get into it. Pragmata is a third-person sci-fi action-adventure game from Capcom, who seem to be unstoppable when it comes to the quality of their games releasing in 2026. You play as Hugh Williams, a member of an investigation team sent to find out what's happened on a lunar facility. After a disaster causes him to lose his team, he's found by Diana, an android that's been designed to resemble a young girl that will help him fight his way through the facility that's been taken over by a rogue AI called Edis, and is filled with bots trying to kill him as he searches for a way to get back to Earth. Now, you may have seen people refer to this game as a dad simulator, and that's pretty much an accurate description. But unlike some of the others that we've already played, this is one where both characters like each other and get along from the start. Although Diana is an android, she has the characteristics of an 8-year-old girl. Constantly asking questions, won't keep still, as I found out when I tried to take some photos. Diana, stay still. Diana, stay still. Yeah, ain't gonna happen. Looks for approval from Hugh and likes to hear when she's been helpful. And Hugh protects her as if she's his own child, but at the same time, he literally couldn't survive the cradle without her, which makes it different from other games. The thing about the story for this game is you can see as much or as little as you want. Obviously, the main story is that Hugh is trying to get back to Earth and Diana is helping him get through all the murder bots that are trying to kill him. But if you want to dig into the backstory, it can be found in notes, emails and holograms in different areas of the cradle that explain a lot about life on the facility leading up to the events of the game. And because they know that some players don't like to read notes, they have some holograms that automatically play when you go into an area. When picking up a note or opening an email that's vital to the story, Hugh will also comment on it after you've put it away. To briefly summarize what was written, I love this because it prevents you from missing any vital information to the story, but then you can go back and read more if you want to dig a little deeper. And there are lots of conversations between Hugh and Diana, with Hugh teaching her about Earth. I actually thought that, the conversations were done really well. He's explaining things to her as if he were talking to an actual human child, explaining things like what it's like on Earth, family not necessarily being the one that you're born into. There was even a particular conversation where he basically explained mental health in a way that a child could understand, or in this case, a child robot.
Getting nutrients from what happens if the nutrients aren't enough?
You'd probably feel lonely or just uneasy. Might even start losing faith in yourself.
Could you get sick?
Some do, yeah. But everyone's different.
Well, I've got you to talk to, so I'll probably be fine.
There were many times where, I got the feeling that he forgot that Diana wasn't, that she was actually an android and a human child. He also came across as someone that regretted not having his own, whether that be because he never managed to settle down or just never found the time. The story was done really well, and, it had a really good pace to it. Sometimes funny, sometimes heartwarming, at times heartbreaking, but majority of the time it was action-packed. Although I ended up loving the story, it wasn't what convinced me to buy this game after playing the demo. No, that was the gameplay. So let's talk about that. I mentioned earlier that Hugh couldn't survive the cradle without Diana, and that's due to the unique hacking mechanics used for combat. which is what got me hooked when I played the demo. When you shoot a bot, the shots hardly do any damage. Using Diana's Akin ability opens them up and makes them more vulnerable to each shot. They don't permanently stay open though, so with the tougher enemies I ended up having to do multiple hacks on them during each fight. The thing is, the bots don't stop attacking you while you're hacking them, so you're having to focus on the hacking matrix while dodging attacks from other bots. I love this, and it gets more challenging as you progress. And there are hacking nodes that you can find to be added to the hacking matrix that will cause more damage during the hack or give you an advantage in the battle. For example, there's a multi-hack node which lets you open up multiple bots that are close by. Heat, which makes the enemies overheat and take a lot more damage. And Confuse is one that I used a lot to get out of trouble because it makes the bots that you've hacked attack other bots. The weapons are great as well. Weapons fall under the following categories. The primary unit, which at the start of the game is Hugh's grip gun, but you do unlock another one later on. So the grip gun is a sidearm that will automatically slowly refill when not being fired. Attack unit, which is a weapon used to cause serious damage. My favorite gun that fell under this category was the shockwave gun, which is basically a shotgun that causes a lot of damage when fired up close and can often destroy the weaker bots with just 1 or 2 shots. Tactical unit. This includes weapons like the stasis net to slow down bots to give you more time to hack them or shoot them, and the defense unit, which gives you gadgets like the decoy generator. This deploys a hologram of Hugh for the bots to attack, allowing him to reposition and hack and shoot without being interrupted. The weapons that fall under the attack, tactical and defense are all disposable weapons, and you will discard them when the ammo runs out and switch back to his primary weapon. There are so many weapons found in boxes in each area and weapons dropped by bots that the weapons being disposable really didn't matter. And now let's talk about those boss fights. If you've been following the channel for a while, you should know that I love boss fights and will often do boss videos and guides. The boss fights in this game are crazy and so much fun. These are big scale fights with the need to do multiple hacks and have you dodging some crazy attacks. The boss fights from the demo was an appetizer. But the creator, which was just the second boss fight in the game, was so crazy that it made me wonder what else was coming. Because if they were going to go this hard on just the second boss fight, I was definitely interested to see what was coming up later. And trust me, they do get crazier. I did defeat each of the boss fights on the first attempt because the maximum difficulty for the first playthrough is standard, but some of these bosses have me expecting some seriously tough battles when I play on the harder difficulties. While on their journey to find a way off the facility, there's a central hub area called the shelter that you and Diana will need to make regular trips to. Heading there will replenish Hugh's health, and it is also needed to travel to the different areas of the cradle when unlocked via the tram. But there's a lot that can be done in the shelter. This is where you can upgrade health and Diana's hacking abilities. There's a 3D printer that lets you print weapons that you found, as well as hacking nodes and mods, so that you can head out to the next mission fully equipped. You'll use upgrade components, pure lunum and lunar filament as your currency for upgrading and printing items, which can be collected when destroying bots and also opening boxes throughout the game. Plus there's some puzzles in different areas to unlock more of this. Diana also has her own area at the shelter. There are these collectibles that you'll find in each area of the cradle, called REMs, which stands for Read Earth Memories. These are basically toys and small snippets of life on Earth that you can give to Diana to teach her more about Earth. Things like a slide, a swing, a skateboard, basketball, things like that. Whenever you head back to the shelter, you can give it to her as a gift if you've managed to find one, and it will go into what will basically turn into a play area. Now, I know there may be some people who hate searching for collectibles in games, but finding the REMs for Diana is actually very beneficial to you. There's a friendly robot at the shelter called Cabin, which will give you these bingo cards to complete. Each section of the card is opened using a cabin coin and will unlock things that, like outfits for Hugh and Diana, red key cards, which I'm going to go through in a bit, info on different types of bots that you faced. I even unlocked a new weapon. Now, every time you hand over REM to Diana, you'll get a cabin coin to use on one of the bingo cards. So you can say that you're, finding these toys for Diana so that you can get these coins. But let's be honest, the reaction and conversations, between Hugh and Diana whenever he hands over one of these is so cute and so wholesome that that's the real reason to do it. There are also red challenge rooms found on every level. These are locked rooms that require a red key card to unlock and give you enemies to clear out before allowing you to to open a locked chest, which usually contains pure lunum or some other goodies. Completing these challenges. Complete these challenge rooms will also unlock sections on the bingo cards for better rewards, so it's definitely worth doing, and they get more challenging as you progress. And there's the training simulators as well, which give you time challenges to complete and give you better rewards for completing all of them. Cabin coins, upgrade modules, pure lunum. You can usually find all of this with the training simulations. What's great is every side activity is linked with each other, so you'll start doing one and then you think to yourself, okay, I might as well do the next one. Oh, I might as well go and look for some REMs. That's unlocked something else, I might as well go do that. It gets very addictive. And the tram system that takes you to the different biomes lets you go back to previous biomes to look for things that you've missed or unlock new areas after upgrades. Also, have conversations with Diana, play with her, because this is a dad simulator after all, or in my case, uncle simulator.
Nice pass, kiddo.
So you should have realized by now that I love the story and the gameplay for this game, but how does it play? Well, on my PC, it plays pretty damn well. I did try playing with path tracing, which completely killed the frame rate, so I turned this off and just went back to ray tracing with DLSS 4.5 enabled, and I was getting frame rates of between 70 and 100 frames per second, depending on the section. Now, I know this may sound unstable and janky, but it really isn't. The only reason I knew that the frame rate was changing was because I had the counter in the top of the screen. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even noticed because it looks so smooth on screen. Just like with Resident Evil Requiem, the RE engine is putting in some serious work with this one. I love the attention to detail. There's one part of the game where Hugh is trying to pay attention to a hologram, but is getting irritated by Diana, tapping on his helmet. The hair animations for Diana, the way the sound changes from the gunfire when in low gravity in the lunar mines. I even liked, how they managed to sneak something in that gamers usually complain about online, but they did it in a way that it's not annoying. I'm talking about other characters not giving you the chance to figure things out for yourself, because one of Diana's characteristics is that she's trying to be helpful. I think some people didn't notice that she's constantly dropping hints about what to do. just because of this characteristic. There's a weapon that deletes nodes off the Akin matrix, right? Now, when you start fighting a bot with a big Akin matrix after you've unlocked this weapon, Diana will say something like,
Oh, if only we had a unit that could delete nodes.
which is a little hint to switch to the right weapon to deal with the bot. When you pick up Akin nodes, she'll sometimes give you a quick reminder of what they actually do. And you know, if you die to a boss or just a strong enemy, she'll start chatting to you about what killed you, you know, on your way back to the fight, asking you if you noticed, you know, that the bot was doing this or doing that, and giving you like a little tactic to beat it on the next try. They were so subtle when putting this in that, you know, I didn't see a lot of people complain about it. So either they didn't notice or they just didn't want to get cussed out by all the Diana fans online. Either way, I like how they implemented it. So now it's time for the dislikes. Well, this is going to be the shortest part of the review because the only thing that I didn't like was the map, which was pretty bad. There was one night when I was playing Pragmata and I was really tired and couldn't figure out where one of the terminals were that I needed to disable to open the big gate in the 3D printed New York. Now I opened up the map to try and figure out where it was, and it was pretty useless. Okay, so obviously I closed it, and when I woke myself up properly I was able to find it, but the map that they put in there was pretty pointless. Also, it would have been great if we had a melee option for bots when they get a little bit too close, but that's literally it. There's pretty much nothing I can complain about, nothing I can think of, you know, that really irritated me about this game. So now it's time for the verdict. I stopped using numbered scores on this channel a couple years ago because I feel that people focus too much on the numbers. I've seen people call games with a Metacritic score of, you know, in the 70s trash, and games in the low 80s mid. So I decided I didn't want to do that on my channel. So here's the rating systems that I use. If I've played a good amount of a game but couldn't bring myself to finish it for whatever reason, I give it a did not finish. After that is bad, average, good, and must play. I'm pleased to say that Pragmata is not only a must play title, but I'd also say it's Game of the Year contender. It's got great story, fun gameplay. David Mencken and Grace Saif, hope I pronounced that right, they did excellent jobs at bringing Hugh and Diana to life. The gameplay was fun. There were some really great boss fights, great side content, and the modes that unlocked when I beat the game are going to make me, you know, give this another playthrough or two. Pragmata is definitely a game that I'd recommend adding to your list if you haven't played it already. Right, so that's the end of this review. Hopefully you enjoyed it and will consider buying this game if you haven't already. If you did, please hit the like button and also the hype button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and check out some other content. Also, consider joining the Hardcore Gamers Club, where you'll get early access to some of my videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.